I've always been intrigued with how things work at the micro level, and I loved science in school, but then didn't go that direction. In seeing the world, that's when I realised I needed to follow that passion in science. I'm a plant molecular biologist. I look at the genes that control flower and fruit development.
I've always been interested in science. When I was a kid, I used to read the New Scientist magazines that friends and family had around. I really enjoyed working in the food space because there's such a wide range of raw materials, from marine products to byproducts from the horticultural industry, and being able to turn those into a range of different end products using a wide range of processes means every day is different.
I actually didn't know that I'm going to go into climate change related science or even atmospheric science. Basically did some volunteering work at the university where I tried to install an atmospheric chemistry model. I was like a light bulb of this is exactly what I want to do. It was very fun. What I'm doing now is top-down modeling, which is basically going backwards. You measure what is in the atmosphere and then you try to model how much CO2 or methane is being emitted or absorbed.
I started here on a Māori summer internship program. I used to call my mum every day and I'd be like, "Mum, you just wouldn't believe what they've actually paid me to do today." My job for the whole day was just to run around and catch white butterflies. I'm an early career researcher in the Māori Research and Partnerships team. We're working really closely with Māori landowners, communities and agribusiness to help achieve their goals and aspirations.
I've always liked science. Growing up on a farm, you've kind of seen how everything interacts and you're getting your hands dirty all the time in amongst soil. It's always in the back of the mind what we can do in terms of the changes in climate, and I guess aware of what I can do personally. But planting trees, they grow quick, they grow a lot of carbon above ground, but we're really looking at what happens below ground as well. So a lot of my work is around ways we can mitigate greenhouse gas emissions, primarily through increasing soil carbon.
When I was a young child, the region in South Africa where I grew up went through an extreme drought, and that really sparked my interest in the climate. I'm an atmospheric scientist, but I focus on a very applied part of atmospheric science where my research looks at any material really that's transported through the atmosphere for long distances.
One of the things that really got me interested in science was taking one of these Intro to Earth and Ocean Science classes, right? Because I realised that I could go outside and learn from the environment and then use that in a way to address lots of problems. I'm a paleoseismologist, so my research is focused on understanding earthquakes, specifically earthquakes in the past.
As a child and teenager, I had never met any scientists at all. I really didn't know what a scientist was, so the idea of becoming a scientist for me was basically incomprehensible. I'm a senior groundwater scientist on groundwater quality and drinking water safety with a view to protecting human health.
We're looking at how we can change the apple structure to remove the core that most people find is the classic symbol of food waste.
I co-lead the program supporting Māori agribusinesses and landowners. So I really love the people side of the research and helping others to achieve their aspirations.
So we can study these past earthquakes through techniques like paleoseismic trenching, and when we do that we can create a picture of the faults, because if we know more about those we can be prepared for earthquakes in the future as a population in Aotearoa.
We can quantify in almost real time how much CO2 or methane is being emitted from different processes, and that will help us understand if we're slowing climate change.
I am developing a system for predicting high likelihood events of invaders reaching New Zealand on their own through the wind-assisted pathways.
Rather than taking out whole farms and put them into forestry, if we can integrate smaller groupings of trees, we could achieve the same outcomes that we would if we have large forest area. This is through maximising the edges of these tree plantings.
I'm extremely privileged to work with our Pacific team, helping colleagues design groundwater monitoring programmes. As sea level rises, they're much more at risk of saline intrusion and flooding and other coastal hazards.
We've been able to get really deep and develop new processing technologies to get high value products which are previously intractable out of these raw materials, which we can apply to get as much value as possible from marine products.